with me, and she was the master architect. She was great stuff. Yeah. Oh, good. You're going to be so happy. Olga, anything to announce on your end? Okay. Well, yeah. I'm going to do that for everybody, though.
But Barbara will say something. Barb, do you have something about? Does Barb have something about the yard sale?
Oh, Barb, you didn't stand up. Please say something about the yard sale if you'd like to. So Barb is the contact for the yard sale, which I incorrectly gave to Cindy. So Barb, if you have any questions about what's appropriate, because you have to take everything back with you. There are rules if it doesn't sell. So talk to Barb. She can give you advice on what to bring, how to price things. Remember that nobody at a yard sale wants to pay anything, right? So, right. What? Oh. I'm just going to repeat, Barb, in case somebody didn't hear. If you have things to bring and you want to work on it during the week and then bring it in before the sale, the parish hall will be open and you can drop stuff off there so you don't have to come to browse the sale with buckets of, they can set up on Sunday for the Monday sale. Yeah.
Right. Okay, Stephanie said go.
Okay, great. Thank you, Stephanie, for all your work up there. You keep us on track. Well, you do, and you do very well. Thank you. Well, welcome to First Parish, Unitarian Universalist, Northboro. Oh, I did it in the wrong order. First Parish, Northboro, Unitarian Universalist Church. We have room, we make room for one and all here. Join us today and share from the wisdom, from the hives, from each other. And today's service is going to be all about that. Now, if you're new to our congregation, and a special welcome, we have a coffee hour afterwards. It's a great place to meet other people in the congregation. We have restrooms next door. Ask any questions, I'd be happy to answer. And there are other people in the room that'd be happy also. Let's see, we have a billion announcements today, so I'll try to go quickly. We've talked about the Memorial Day Fair. For those of you on Zoom, we have all sorts of opportunity to have you set up on Sunday before the May 26th sale on Monday. So feel free to drop off. Let's see, soon we will be having a service to welcome new members. So thank you, new members. Let's see. Oh, this is a new one. Steve, our minister, Steve Wilson, had a notice in the perspective that we have this wonderful opportunity to camp together June 28th, that weekend, with people from 3 congregations. There's very little cost. There's only a cost to park your car. You can bring what you like. Polite dogs are invited, which is the point. And so you can see the perspective for more of that information. Even more exciting, Celia, you'll appreciate, is our June annual meeting. We are expecting to, Celia, if you want to stand, Celia is our board president and would love to have us all attend. We need a quorum, and that would require 40% of the congregation. I think we'll do fine. That's June 8th. Let's see. We didn't talk about strawberry shortcake enough, Cindy, I think. I don't know, but you're right. Right. So we are looking for donations of strawberry shortcake, etc. So see Cindy. Hold on, I'm opening up the perspective. We have great concerts coming up through the Meeting House art space. Bear with me. Our previous sermons are online. If you want to hear them, you can find those through the perspective also. And if you're not receiving the perspective, contact our office. Let's see. Bear with me for one moment. I'm sorry. Oh, we have. Excuse me. Is that okay? Yeah. I'm coming to that. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we have vigils for peace and democracy every Monday night. So we welcome you to come here. It's on the corner. People have been gathering for several months now. I'm happy to report too, Celia told us that Shrewsbury is now doing that also, inspired by the work that we've done. Yay, congregation. And they are doing every Thursday from 5:30 to 6:30. Community meals continue. You can find out more about that. Linda Clark, raise your hand, please, gave me a flyer that will give you information about what to do if you see ICE officials in your neighborhood. So you can learn how to be a point person. The information that Linda has available is something that you can take a picture of. It has a, what do you call it, code? Yeah, what? Right. Yeah, it has a code. You'll take a picture. You can go to the site. It will give you all sorts of information. Okay. Let's see, Wednesday coming up is one of our favorite things of the whole year. Gordon Belcher, I can't find him here yet. Gordon Belcher, Cynthia McLeod are once again coming back from Prince Edward Island. Thank you. I knew it was Canada, right? They're coming back from Prince Edward Island to provide us with one of the most wonderful musical experiences we have all year long. And they're very well-known musicians, and that they choose us every year is just such it's a joy. It's a joy. Rip snorting joy. Thank you, Kathleen. There's lots more information about the Meeting House Art Center. There's other things coming up. Also wanted to point out Ted Lilly is the artist behind all of these paintings in here. If you want to learn more about the wild process he used to create these really interesting things, Ted is with us today. So Ted, would you just poke up a little bit? Yeah, thank you. Right. So thank you, artist in residence, and I'll leave the show to, yeah, thank you.
This morning, the prelude is called The Bee and the Clover. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. As we light this chalice this morning, may it serve to give us clarity of purpose and illuminate our way as we set about doing the work of this congregation in commitment, in cooperation, and in love. Please stand as you are able for hymn number 402, From You I Receive. Together we share, and from this we live. From you see, together we share, and from this we live. Together we share, and from this we live. The reading this morning is from the New Testament, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verses 8 through 12. There was a man all alone. He had neither son nor brother. There was no end to his toil, yet his eyes were not content with his wealth. For whom am I toiling, he asked, and why am I depriving myself of enjoyment? Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. No creatures live this lesson more than honeybees. The sharing of personal joys and sorrows is a ritual of connection observed in many of our faith communities. It's a time to briefly share and witness to others sharing of those special moments of joy and sorrow in our living. We do this in faith that a joy shared increases the joy in the world, and a sorrow or burden shared lightens the load. If you're here in the meeting house, please come forward and line up there. Drop your stone and briefly share at the microphone. If you're on Zoom and wish to share, please raise your physical or So we got a late start today. So in the interest of time, I'm going to skip the meditation and go right on to the offering.
Please give as you are able. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. This is a reading. It's entitled Weaving Our Path by Martha Dallas. Imagine with me that you're going along a trail in the woods in Vermont, and you come across a steep gorge with a river rushing at the bottom. There is only one way to get across. You see a bridge, and it's made of, I don't think I have. Okay. And it's made of a basket of grass, long overgrown grass, and pass it around. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was supposed to be the physical object. What I want to know is what questions would be running through your mind before you set foot on that grass bridge. What I would want to know more than anything else is if the people who made the bridge also walked across it and whether they still use it. Of course, we don't have bridges made of grass in Massachusetts, but many were built for hundreds of years in South America by the Inca people, and I think a few still exist. Here's how they did it. First, they made fresh bridges once a year. On the appointed day, everyone in the village would gather to begin work. Each person had a special role to play in building the bridge. First, there were people who gathered the grass. Then other people took that grass and twisted it into long ropes. Then people took those ropes and wove them into thick braids. And those braids were twisted by other people into long cables, as thick as my arm. Certain people strung the cables across the gorge and pulled them nice and tight. And finally, there were riggers who would lash the cables together in such a way as to create a footbed to walk on and rails on each side to hold. Each person did their part as best they could, and they relied on everyone else to do their part well, because every one of them needed that bridge to safely carry them across the river whenever they needed to go that way. This story of grass bridges reminds us of how important our small part is. When it's part of something big and strong and even miraculous as a bridge made of grass. May we all build a way together like the Inca grass bridge builders.
Humans have interacted with honeybees for thousands of years. One of the earliest recorded instances of humans interacting with bees comes from 40,000-year-old spear point found in a Spanish cave. The spear point had been attached to its shaft with beeswax. 9,000-year-old rock art from such different places as Africa, Turkey, Spain, and Australia show human figures attempting to access wild hives. Hieroglyphics show that Egyptians made the first attempts at actual beekeeping at least 2,500 years ago. My turn came in 1976. I had always found honeybees and beekeeping interesting and thought it would be cool to have a hive of my own. How does one even begin to do this? Where do you get a hive? And bees, where do they come from? And how would I learn to take care of them? There were no books in the library about beekeeping and obviously no internet. So I began my journey doing what we did back then. I let my fingers do the walking through the yellow pages. And to my great surprise, there was a company that sold bees and equipment right in the next town to me. I ordered a hive and all the equipment I needed. The bees, they came in the mail. They still do. I loved keeping bees. They were just as cool and interesting as I thought they would be. But at that time, my interest wasn't really deep enough to really educate myself about these amazing creatures. Back then, I kept bees for about 7 years. A move to the city and a growing family forced me to give up my hobby. I returned to beekeeping about 10 years ago with a very different attitude toward honeybees. This time, I was interested in learning everything I could about them. I attended bee school and bee conferences. I read scientific research papers. I began to be more observant of their actions and behaviors. The more I watched, the more fascinated I became. I have literally spent hours just sitting beside my hives, watching my bees come and go. Over the years, I found there's some life lessons I've learned from these tiny creatures. Here's some of what I've learned. Every hive has one queen. She's the only fertile female in the colony. People sometimes think she's the ruler of the hive, and in some ways, she has a lot of influence over the colony. They certainly treat her like a queen. She's always surrounded by a group of bees known as her court. They feed her, they groom her, they guard her from any enemies. Who wouldn't want to be the queen? It's her pheromones that control much of the activity in the hive. They signal the presence of a fertile queen, suppressing the development of ovaries in the workers. The pheromone stimulates worker bees to build comb, to forage, and rear brood, ensuring colony survival. But along with all the care and attention she receives, she also has a responsibility to the hive. With only a few short rest periods, the queen spends her whole day laying eggs. She moves from cell to cell, depositing an egg into each one, up to 2,000 a day, 24/7, until the day she doesn't. Should she start to lag in her egg-producing duties, the workers will quickly make the decision to kill her and replace her with a new queen. Life lesson number 1. Being a queen isn't all it's cracked up to be. The largest population of bees in the hive are the worker bees. By late spring, the worker bee population is about 60,000. They are all female and are responsible for all the work to keep the hive thriving. They begin to work from the minute they emerge from their cocoon, and they don't stop until the day they die. If a worker bee sees something that needs to be done, they just do it. They don't wait for another bee to come along and take care of it. As a newly hatched adult bee, their first job will be to clean out their own cell and prepare it for the queen to lay a new egg in it. She then moves on to the nursery to care for the eggs and the young larvae. Newly hatched adult bees have a special gland in their head that produces royal jelly that's fed to all the larvae. After about 2 weeks, this gland becomes non-functioning, while at the same time, her wax glands begin to mature. She then moves on to building honeycomb. She'll spend the next 2 to 3 weeks of her life doing a variety of jobs within the hive. She could be part of the queen's court. She could be a guard bee. Maybe she's the undertaker bee that removes all the dead bodies from the hive, or part of the honey processing. It's not until she's about 4 weeks old that she will finally leave the hive to become a field bee, one that is responsible for nectar, pollen, and water gathering. At about 6 weeks, her life will usually end out in the field, unable to return to the hive because she has worn out her wings. From the day she is born, the worker bee dedicates herself to the well-being and survival of the colony. She is diligent in caring for all the young bees. When there is work to be done, she does it without question. Life lesson number 2, a variety of work matched to your unique skills make for a satisfying career. The hive also has a population of male bees called drones. Drones do no work in the hive and are dependent on the workers for food and shelter. They number about 300 to 500 per hive, and the drone's only job is to pass on the genetics of the queen. Each day, he leaves the hive and flies to an area that attracts all the drones from within about a 1-mile radius. This area is known as drone congregation area. I refer to it as the drone bar. Here, the drones hang out waiting for virgin queens to fly by. If they're lucky enough to mate, they will die after mating. If they don't mate, they will return to the hive at the end of each day. Pretty much how they spend all their days throughout the summer, hanging out at the drone bar, returning home for food and shelter. Around mid-October, there's no more queens being produced and mating season ends.
I'm listening to the sermon right now.
Talk to you later.
At this point, the workers will no longer allow the drones back into the hive. The colony is preparing for winter, and drones are seen as unproductive resource suckers and a threat to the survival of the hive. They are thrown out into the cold and left to starve. Life lesson number 3, mooching off your family is not a good life plan. Honeybees do much of their communication through pheromones. The guard bees produce a banana-scented alarm pheromone to alert the workers of imminent danger, and scout bees produce a pheromone that guides a swarm to their new home. But they also communicate through dancing. When a worker bee finds a resource and wants to communicate the location to other bees in the colony, she does what's called the waggle dance. The waggle dance, it's a series of figure 8 movements with a little body wiggle between the left and right turns. The other bees will read how fast she dances, what direction she moves, and how many wiggles she performs. With that information, they learn the quality of the resource and the direction and distance it is from the hive. It's so accurate that humans can actually watch this dance and locate the resource. Also remember, this dance is done in the dark of the hive. Life lesson number 4. Sometimes a quick dance around the kitchen can communicate more than a full conversation. What do bees do in the winter? Surprisingly, they don't hibernate. They form a cluster about the size of a soccer ball with the queen in the middle. All winter, they need to keep her at 95 degrees so as not to destroy her eggs or the sperm she collected when she mated. Just like penguins, bees rotate from the outside into the inside of the cluster, each taking turns staying warm. The bees on the outside continually flex their wing muscles in order to generate the heat and keep the cluster warm. Life lesson number 5. When life is cold or difficult, huddle with your loved ones. Bees are masters at regulating the temperature within their hive. They create working systems of circulation, moisture control, and airflow. They create small cracks for ventilation. They fan their wings to move air around and evaporate moisture. They create heat by shivering and flexing their wing muscles. When they build their honeycomb, they build perfect back-to-back hexagon-shaped cells. The bottom of each cell on one side meets the junction of the strongest point of the cells on the opposite side, creating the strongest foundation for brood rearing and honey storage. Life lesson number 6. You don't need a college degree to understand thermodynamics and architectural design. Sometimes on very hot days in the summer, the bees will have a hard time cooling down the hive. In the early evening, thousands of bees will gather on the outside of the hive in an effort to reduce the temperature inside. This practice is called bearding. Sometimes they cover most of the outside of the hive surface, and they just hang out there, sometimes all night if it's really hot, until the weather changes and it cools down. Life lesson number 7. On those hot summer evenings, there's nothing better than hanging out on your front porch with your feet up and a cold drink. When a colony has outgrown its space, it will divide itself in half and swarm. Swarming is the true reproduction of the colony. Since the hive functions like an organism, new babies in the hive is similar to us growing new cells, but swarming is like producing a whole new human being. The swarm will consist of the queen and about half the colony with varying ages of bees. They will leave the hive all at once and settle in a nearby location, a tree, a bush, a fence. If you can only imagine 30,000 bees suddenly pouring out of a hive, it's amazing to watch, and you can hear it yards away, the buzz. Once the swarm settles, it will be the job of the scout bees to search for a new home. The 200 to 300 scout bees will head out in different directions looking for a hollow place to set up a new hive. If she finds a potential home, she'll spend some time walking around in it, assessing the size and suitability of the location. She'll then fly back to the swarm and convey the information by way of the waggle dance. She'll convey all the location information, but also her opinion about it. The more excitement she shows in her dance, the better she thinks the new location is. If she's really excited, other scout bees will go and visit her find and come back and give their opinion. If this site is better than the one they found, they will quickly abandon their original find in favor of the better site. There's no ego involved, only finding the best home. This behavior will continue for as little as an hour or up to 3 days until all the scout bees are in agreement that they have chosen the best new home site. Life lesson number 8, democracy rules. It's best when everyone has a voice in a decision. Here, I'd like to recommend a book, if you have interest in this subject, by Dr. Tom Seeley called Honeybee Democracy. Dr. Seeley is a researcher at Cornell University Bee Lab, and he ran a number of experiments on how scout bees find and communicate how they find a new home. And although it's very scientific information, he writes it and it's easily accessible to the layperson. I would encourage you to have a look at it. It's a great read. It's said that only honeybees not only do no harm, but actually improve the world as they go about collecting nectar and pollen. Simply by doing what they need to survive, they ensure the survival of the other bees in their hive and the survival of humans and animals that depend on the pollination of plants for fruits and vegetables, all while harming nothing. How can we as humans seek to live in ways inspired by the bees, striving to cause little to no harm, and actually leaving things better than we found them? Caitlin Bosshart, a life coach and fellow beekeeper, offers the following observations and questions. The bees see themselves as a collective organism. No one bee is more important than the others, arguably not even the queen, who wouldn't survive without the worker bees. If they didn't see themselves as part of the greater whole, if they attacked each other, limited others' ability to contribute and thrive as equals, they wouldn't be the incredible superorganism that contributes directly to the abundance found on earth. Think of the possibilities if we adopted this mentality as our own. Moving the needle toward the honeybee standard of zero harm by living their essential nature is a question each of us has to answer for ourselves. Maybe it's one tiny aspect of your life you want to try to bring into greater alignment. Whatever it is, ask yourself, am I reducing harmful impact to others, myself, the earth? Am I leaving something even slightly better, healthier, more enriched than when I found it? Each small step just adds up. Just as every honeybee whose life's work contributes only about 1/10 of a teaspoon of honey. When we all shift, each of our contributions adds up, and we find ourselves with an incredible metaphorical honey harvest, a harvest we all stand to reap the benefits of. Amen and blessed be. Please stand as you are able for We'll Build a Land. Where the captives go free, where your stays all so free. Oh, we'll promise land that can be. Oh, sisters and brothers, I think I go home. Our final reading today is by Betsy Johnson. I saw Betsy at our open mic this month. Her words that night were powerful and inspiring. I asked her after if she might have a poem that would fit the topic for today. She didn't, but she wrote this one specifically for this service. It's called Honey Logic. Watch how morning silvers their wings, these small architects of tomorrow, rising with the sun, 10,000 bodies turning empty air into gold. They've mastered our forgotten truth. Grace multiplies when shared. Strength lives in the spaces between one body and another. In perfect hexagons, they store their gathered light, each cell a testament to what happens when we build beyond ourselves. They take what they need, leaving gardens in their wake, every flower they touch becoming a feast for others yet to come. They pulse in the hive heart, synchronized in something larger, something ancient as sunlight, the raw power of together. This algebra of abundance flows through their wing beats, becomes orchards heavy with apples, becomes fields of clover spreading, for the simple truth that we are stronger in the gathering. They've outlasted empires this way, turning bounty into bridges, weaving tomorrow from small deeds, from countless acts of faith. While we wage our wars of mine and yours, they are dancing maps to nectar, teaching anyone who'll listen how to make a future worth sharing. Start with open hands. Trust the wisdom of enough. Leave each place you touch humming with more life than you found.